QAnon, my futon, hold it up and smoke it. Transgression, a progression of a war we ain't asked for. Transgression, a progression of a war we ain't asked for. It's madness, yo. All the things that we could talk about.
Call it.
But let's talk about these urban circumstances real quick.
And basically, it's
we got this.
So,
revolution.
Winner's frosty hand. Muhammad is the fame's name, forever stand.
Standing on royal fusing of justice for the few, ridiculed by the pale terrorists bent on genocidal obsession, rooted in fear of neglection and abandonment, fueled by nightmares of ancestors' jealousy.
because at the end of the day, I still want to be able to I don't dislike George Washington.
The kind of friends I think all friends should be like my friends. My friends are the kind of friends I think everyone needs. My friends see the things at times I don't see. My friends hate the police.
What has changed?
Are deemed the criminals, and the blacks are deemed the criminals.
Shut up and help.
Reflection ain't nothing but the inner child trying to see you. You gonna look? You gonna pick up that book?
Lord, keep me far from the faith. Guide me through night and day. Teach me your ways. Show me the righteous way to sway. Lord, can you teach me, please? Show me the way, I'd say.
Good morning, good morning, good morning, man. My name is Chaz, aka the Urban Conservative. And this morning, I'm coming to you to talk about the house Negro versus the field Negro, and what that actually, sorry about that, turn off the fan, but exactly what does that mean, and what does it look like? What does the house Negro and the field Negro look like? And we're going to talk about that today because we have organizations that are out here for the embetterment and the empowerment of Black individuals. But yet we don't see that empowerment or that embetterment in our communities. And why is that? You know what I'm saying? That's something that isn't talked about, and it needs to be talked about. Because the relevance today of the house Negro and the field Negro can be applied not just to racial dynamics, but also to various marginalized groups globally, considering issues like ethnicity, LGBTQ plus identities, media representation. We're going to explore how media plays a role in shaping these identities and whether certain groups are more often portrayed as house or field figures. The political landscape. We can analyze how political structures and policies may contribute to perpetuation of these roles. And that's what it is, because we have groups like, the NAACP, the Council, Minnesotans of African Heritage. We have the Congressional Black Caucus, the Urban League. And what have they done for us? I want people to really sit here and to contemplate that. What have, these organizations, what have they done for the empowerment, the embetterment of, our Black communities? Because I see them as, becoming celebrities. I see them becoming spotlighted figures. But see, the problem for me and the problem for you should be that, you know, when we look at these organizations and these Black leaders, these who are selected and not elected, you know, we don't, and I'm going to get into that, because who really fights for the Black community? It's the people that are not heard. It's the Reverend Tim Christophers. It's the great and rest in heaven, Ron Edwards, Mel Reeves, Malcolm X, Martin Luther King, you know, and Martin, I will say this, you know, a lot of the issues that we're having within the Black community with the divide and conquer has a lot to do with the 1964 Civil Rights Bill, because a lot of things that have been deterrent and getting away from Black identity, Black individuality, Black separation, because they want a bunch of sin. That's why they call us POC or African American, and you know, and not saying that I have anything against being called African American, because that's where my ancestors came from. But I don't have that connection. See, they've indoctrinated us in public schools, on TV, to actually hate Africa, to hate where I came from and where my ancestors came from. And not that I hate Africa, because I don't, but I don't have that connection like my ancestors did, because the way that I'm told and the way that I'm taught about my roots, it's not, I don't hear the same things about, you know, our you know, because they want to bring up Martin, they want to bring up, you know, Thurgood Marshall, they want to bring up so many other great Black leaders, Harriet Tubman, but all in the same aspect. They want to talk about, they want to demonize them at the same time. But yet when we demonize, or can't even say demonize, when we talk about historical facts, when it comes to Abraham Lincoln, when it comes to, you know, William Colville, when it comes to some of our Christopher Columbus, you know, they always only want to talk about some of the good things, what they see as good things, but they never want to talk about the facts. They never want to talk about the whole side of the story. And that's the crazy part for me, because we look at these groups, we look at the NAACP, which I call them Negroes always asking Caucasians permission, because they're not the same NAACP that we've seen from, you know, the Medgar Evers. God, I can't think of the guy's name from St. Paul right now. But even him, Roy Wilkins, you know, these are people that they don't ever want to talk about, but yet leave a big mark in history, especially Black history, that is untold, you know. And when I talk about the NAACP, I'm talking about the times in the 50s, the way they fought for Emmett Till, you know, but we never hear about that. You know, they always want to feed us the leaders that I feel like, and this again, this is my opinion, the sellouts. You know, they want to feed us the, you know, they don't ever want to feed us the Bobby Seals, the Huey Newtons, the Fred Hamptons. You know, they always want to give us the other people. They want to give us the people that bow down to a system that keeps on oppressing us over and over again. And I want to play something from 1963, and it's Malcolm X. But it plays such a role in today's, I feel, time. And so let's get into it. So you're not going to see me. I'm going to mute myself here in a minute. But we're going to play this, and it's 23 minutes long and 17 seconds. So bear with me. I will be stopping the video at various marks to talk about what Malcolm is saying. So please listen up and listen up closely, because the brother is preaching.
So what young brother here referred to as the house Negro and the field Negro back during slavery. There was two kinds of slaves. There was the house Negro and the field Negro. The house Negro, they lived in the house with master. They dressed pretty good. They ate good because they ate his food, what he left. They lived in the attic or the basement, but still they lived near their master. And they loved their master more than the master loved himself. They would give their life to save their master's house quicker than the master would. The house Negro, if the master said, we got a good house here, the house Negro said, yeah, we got a good house here. Whenever the master said we, he said we. That's how you can tell a house Negro. If the master's house caught on fire, the house Negro would fight harder to put the blaze out than the master would. If the master got sick, the house Negro would say, what's the matter, boss? We sick. We sick. He identified himself with his master more than his master identified with himself. And if you came to the house Negro and said, let's run away, let's escape, let's separate, that house Negro would look at you and say, man, you crazy. What you mean separate? Where is there a better house than this? Where can I wear better clothes than this? Where can I eat better food than this? That was that house Negro. In those days, he was called a house nigger. And that's what we call him today because we still got some house niggers running around here. This modern house Negro loves his master. He wants to live near him. He'll pay 3 times as much as the house is worth just to live near his master. And then brag about, I'm the only Negro out here. I'm the only one on my job. I'm the only one in this school. You're nothing but a house Negro. And if someone come to you right now and say, let's separate, you say the same thing that the house Negro said on the plantation. What you mean separate? From America? This good white man? Where you gonna get a better job than you get here? I mean, this is what you say. I ain't left nothing in Africa. That's what you say, while you left your mind in Africa. On that same plantation, there was the field Negro. The field Negro, those were the masses. There was always more Negroes in the field than there was Negroes in the house. The Negro in the field caught hell. He ate leftovers. In the house, they ate high up on the hog. The Negro in the field didn't get nothing but what was left of the insides of the hog. They call them chitlins nowadays. In those days, they call them what they were, guts. That's what you were, a gut eater. And some of you all still gut eaters. The field Negro was beaten from morning till night. He lived in a shack, in a hut. He wore cast-off clothes. And he hated his master. I say he hated his master. He was intelligent. That house Negro loved his master. But that field Negro, remember, they were in the majority. And they hated the master. When the house caught on fire, he didn't try and put it out. That field Negro prayed for a wind, for a breeze. When the master got sick, the field Negro prayed that he died. If someone come to the field Negro and said, let's separate, let's run, he didn't say, where are we going? He said, any place is better than here. You got field Negroes in America today. I'm a field Negro. The masses are the field Negroes. When they see this man's house on fire, you don't hear these little Negroes talking about our government is in trouble. They say the government is in trouble. Imagine a Negro, our government. I even heard one say our astronauts. They won't even let him near the plant. And our astronauts, our Navy, that's a Negro that's out of his mind. That's a Negro that's out of his mind. Just as the slave master in that day used Tom, the house Negro, to keep the field Negroes in check, the same old slave master today has Negroes who are nothing but modern Uncle Toms, 20th century Uncle Toms, to keep you and me in check, keep us under control, keep us passive and peaceful and nonviolent. That's Tom making you nonviolent. It's like when you go to the dentist and the man is going to take your tooth. You're going to fight him when he starts pulling. So they squirt some stuff in your jaw called Novocaine to make you think they're not doing anything to you. So you sit there and because you got all that Novocaine in your jaw, you suffer peacefully. Blood running all down your jaw. And you don't know what's happening because someone has taught you to suffer peacefully. The white man do the same thing to you in the street. When he gonna want to put knots on your head and take advantage of you and don't have to be afraid of you fighting back, to keep you from fighting back, he get these old religious Uncle Toms to teach you and me. They're just like Novocaine, suffer peacefully. Don't stop suffering, just suffer peacefully. As Reverend Cleek pointed out, let your blood flow in the streets. This is a shame. And you know, he's a Christian preacher. If it's a shame to him, you know what it is to me. Because nothing in our book, the Quran, as you call it, Quran, teaches us to suffer peacefully. Our religion teaches us to be intelligent, be peaceful, be courteous, obey the law, respect everyone. But if someone puts his hand on you, send him to the cemetery.
What is wrong with self-defense? What is wrong with Black people defending themselves? You know, we've had plenty of grassroots groups that were about self-protection. You know, we've had the Black Panthers, primarily when it came to the Panthers, when it came to the Nation of Islam, when it came to really, and even in today's time, Not Fucking Around crew, NFAC, you know, and what did they do to that man? He went down there for his Second Amendment rights for Breonna Taylor, and the man is sitting in a federal prison. A federal prison for what? For standing up for his rights, for standing up for Black people. And we don't stand behind the ones that, you know, because what's crazy to me is they're going to be talking about individuals. They're going to be talking in years just like how they're teaching us. They taught us in school about Malcolm, about Martin, in 20 years, they're going to be doing the same thing to our kids. They're going to be talking about Candace Owens. They're going to be talking about the Al Sharptons, which we learned, but they're going to be talking about the Ben Crumps. They're going to be talking about all of these fake leaders. And what have they done but set us backwards, but set us black people backwards? You know, they want to tell us that we've had a black president. No, we haven't. Now they're bringing up Obama wrong, because Obama was not our first black. He was our first African-American president, but never black. And I'm never going to give him that credit. I'm never going to give Obama that he is a black American, that because he was a sellout. He made black America worse. And if people can't understand that, I don't understand what you're looking at, because Obama made black America much worse.
That's a good religion. In fact, that's that old-time religion. That's the one that Ma and Pa used to talk about. An eye for an eye, and a tooth for a tooth, and a head for a head, and a life for a life. That's a good religion. And then no one resents that kind of religion being taught but a wolf who intends to make you his meal. This is the way it is with the white man in America. He's a wolf, and you a sheep. Anytime a shepherd, a pastor, teach you and me not to run from the white man, and at the same time teach us don't fight the white man, he's a traitor to you and me. Don't lay down our life all by itself. No. Preserve your life. It's the best thing you got. And if you got to give it up, let it be even Stephen. The slave master took Tom and dressed him well and fed him well and even gave him a little education. Gave him a long coat and a top hat and made all the other slaves look up to him. Then he used Tom to control them. The same strategy that was used in those days is used today by the same white man. He take a Negro, so-called Negro, and make him prominent, build him up, publicize him, make him a celebrity, and then he becomes a spokesman for Negroes and a Negro leader. I would like to just mention one thing else quickly, and that is the method that the white man uses, how the white man uses these big guns or Negro leaders against the black revolution. They're not a part of the black revolution. They're used against the black revolution. When Martin Luther King failed to desegregate Albany, Georgia, the civil rights struggle in America reached its low point. King became bankrupt almost as a leader, plus even financially. The Southern Christian Leadership Conference was in financial trouble, plus it was in trouble, period, with the people when they failed to desegregate Albany, Georgia. Other Negro civil rights leaders of so-called national stature became fallen idols. As they became fallen idols, began to lose their prestige and influence, local Negro leaders began to stir up the masses. In Cambridge, Maryland, Gloria Richardson
In Danville, Virginia, and other parts of the country, local leaders begin to stir up our people at the grassroots level. This was never done by these Negroes whom you recognize of national stature. They controlled you, but they never incited you or excited you. They controlled you, they contained you. They kept you on the plantation. As soon as King failed in Birmingham, Negroes took to the streets. King got out and went out to California to a big rally and raised about, I don't know how many thousands of dollars. Come to Detroit and had a march and raised some more thousands of dollars. And recall, right after that, Wilkins attacked King, accused King and the Corps of starting trouble everywhere and then making the NAACP get him out of jail and spend a lot of money. And then he accused King and Corps of raising all the money and not paying it back. This happened. I got it in documented evidence in the newspaper. Roy started attacking King, and King started attacking Roy, and farmers started attacking both of them. And as these Negroes of national stature begin to attack each other, they begin to lose their control of the Negro masses. And Negroes was out there in the streets. They was talking about, we're going to march on Washington. By the way, and right at that time, Birmingham had exploded, and the Negroes in Birmingham, remember, they also exploded. They began to stab the crackers in the back and bust them upside the head. Yes, they did. That's when Kennedy sent in the troops down in Birmingham. So, and right after that, Kennedy got on the television and said, this is a moral issue. That's when he said he's going to put out a civil rights bill. And when he mentioned civil rights bill and the Southern crackers started talking about they were going to boycott it or filibuster it, then the Negroes started talking about what? We're going to march on Washington, march on the Senate, march on the White House, march on the Congress, and tie it up, bring it to a halt. Don't let the government proceed. They even said they was going to go out to the airport and lay down on the runway and don't let no airplanes land. I'm telling you what they said. That was revolution. That was revolution. That was the black revolution. It was the grassroots out there in the street. Scared the white man to death. Scared the white power structure in Washington, D.C. to death. I was there. When they found out that this black steamroller was going to come down on the Capitol, they called in Wilkins. They called in Randolph. They called in these national Negro leaders that you respect and told them, call it off. Kennedy said, look, you all letting this thing go too far. And old Tom said, boss, I can't stop it because I didn't start it. I'm telling you what they said. They said, I'm not even in it, much less at the head of it. They said, these Negroes are doing things on their own. They're running ahead of us. And that old shrewd fox, he said, well, if you all aren't in it, I'll put you in it. I'll put you at the head of it. I'll endorse it. I'll welcome it. I'll help it. I'll join it. A matter of hours went by. They had a meeting at the Carlisle Hotel in New York City. The Carlisle Hotel is owned by the Kennedy family. That's the hotel Kennedy spent the night at 2 nights ago. Belongs to his family. A philanthropic society headed by a white man named Stephen Currier called all the top civil rights leaders together at the Carlisle Hotel and told them that by you all fighting each other, you're destroying the civil rights movement. And since you're fighting over money from white liberals, let us set up what's known as the Council for United Civil Rights Leadership. Let's form this council, and all the civil rights organizations will belong to it. And we'll use it for fundraising purposes. Let me show you how tricky the white man is. And as soon as they got it formed, they elected Whitney Young as the chairman. And who you think became the co-chairman? Stephen Currier, the white man. A millionaire. Powell was talking about it down at the Cobo today. This is what he was talking about. Powell knows it happened. Randolph knows it happened. Wilkins knows it happened. King knows it happened. Every one of that so-called Big Six, they know what happened. Once they formed it with the white man over it, he promised them and gave them $800,000 to split up between the Big Six, and told them that after the march was over, they'd give them 700,000 more, $1.5 million, split up between the leaders that you've been following, going to jail for, crying crocodile tears for, and they've nothing but Frank James and Jesse James and brothers. Soon as they got the setup organized, the white men made available to them top public relations experts, opened the news media across the country at their disposal, and then they began to project these Big Six as the leaders of the march. Originally, they weren't even in the march. You was talking this march talk on Hastings Street. Is Hastings Street still here? On Hastings Street. You was talking the march talk on Lenox Avenue, and down on Fillmore Street, and Central Avenue, and 42nd Street, and 63rd Street. That's where the march talk was being talked. But the white man put the Big Six ahead of it, made them the march. They became the march. They took it over. And the first move they made after they took it over, they invited Walter Reuther, a white man. They invited a priest, a rabbi, and an old white preacher. Yes, an old white preacher. The same white element that put Kennedy in power, labor, the Catholics, the Jews, and liberal Protestants. Same clique that put Kennedy in power joined the March on Washington. It's just like when you got some coffee that's too black, which means it's too strong. What you do, you integrate it with cream. You make it weak. If you pour too much cream in, you won't even know you ever had coffee. It used to be hot, it becomes cool. It used to be strong, it becomes weak. It used to wake you up, now it'll put you to sleep. This is what they did with the March on Washington. They joined it. They didn't integrate it, they infiltrated it. They joined it, became a part of it, took it over. And as they took it over, it lost its militancy. They ceased to be angry. They ceased to be hot. They ceased to be uncompromising. Why, it even ceased to be a march. It became a picnic, a circus. Nothing but a circus with clowns and all. You had one right here in Detroit. I saw it on television with clowns leading it, white clowns and black clowns. I know you don't like what I'm saying, but I'm going to tell you anyway, because I can prove what I'm saying. If you think I'm telling you wrong, you bring me Martin Luther King and A. Philip Randolph and James Farmer and those other three, and see if they'll deny it over a microphone. No, it was a sellout. It was a takeover. When James Baldwin came in from Paris, they wouldn't let him talk because they couldn't make him go by the script. Burt Lancaster read the speech that Baldwin was supposed to make. They wouldn't let Baldwin get up there because they know Baldwin liable to say anything. They controlled it so tight, they told those Negroes what time to hit town, how to come, where to stop, what sign to carry, what song to sing, what speech they could make and what speech they couldn't make. And then told them to get out of town by sundown. And every one of those Toms were out of town by sundown. Now, I know you don't like my saying this, but I can back it up. It was a circus, a performance. It beat anything Hollywood could ever do. The performance of the year. Ruther and those other three devils should get a Academy Award for the best actors because they acted like they really loved Negroes and fooled a whole lot of Negroes. And the 6 Negro leaders should get an award too for the best supporting cast.
Man, so that was deep. You know, and that's why me personally, I stopped listening and following today's leaders because I feel like they're selling out our communities. You know what I'm saying? They don't stand up for our Black community. The Black church doesn't stand up for the Black community. And we have so many issues in our own communities that we can't even fight justly, just for the simple fact that when we go to our leaders like the NAACP or the Urban League or, you know, things like that, we always get the runaround because they don't ever want to go at their massa. They don't ever want to go at the hand that feeds them. And that's our problem. That's one of the biggest issues that we're facing in our community because of the simple fact of why are we calling them leaders when we can't even go to them for help? You know, I deal with cases daily of families that are dealing with injustices from the juvenile system, from child protection, from wrongfully convicted, from police brutality to gun violence. You know, them not even doing, the police even doing their jobs of investigating murders, or, you know, the medical examiner not doing a thorough job on doing what they're supposed to be doing on the autopsies. So it's crazy because there's so many legislation, there's so many hurdles that we have to jump for transparency, for truth, for facts, because they always want to feed us, first of all, a narrative. They want to feed us some bullshit to pacify us. Because if honestly, if it wasn't for Jonathan Mason, who keeps Ricky Cobb's name alive, at least on Facebook that I see, and I got to give it up for him, you know what I'm saying? Because not many people are still out here screaming for Black lives, you know what I'm saying? So, because we're still having, it's almost 4 years now, as it will be in 3.5, and from May 2020, and we're still dealing with police brutality. We're still dealing with getting justice. We're still dealing with getting rid of banning no-knock warrants. Shit, look at Brooklyn, what's happening in Brooklyn Center. Look what's happening in Brooklyn Center. Oh, y'all don't know what's going on in Brooklyn Center. See, follow what's going on. Look what's going on in Brooklyn Center with the Dante Wright and Kobe Heisler Act. Look at what they're trying to do with just stopping basic traffic stops. Why is it always, when it comes to doing the right thing, they can always find ways around doing it? And we fall for it. We fall for it. We just had an election, November 7th, and I was disheartened, not about who won or even who lost. It was about the fact that the Black community didn't show its voice. It didn't show out in numbers, because when it matters, we never show up. That's the most sickest thing, because we never show up when it matters. We never show up when it matters, because how is it that fourth ward only had 31% of the population over there vote. How? That's not getting change. That's not making our voices heard. And what's crazy is we can't even use that they're trying to do, hold voter stuff from us because they made it so that felons can go vote. Uber gave you a free ride. Metro Transit gave you a free ride. So and you could get off for work to go vote. So there was no reason for you not to get out and vote. There wasn't none. There wasn't none. There wasn't any reason for you not to get out and make sure your voice was heard. Regardless if they won or not, you should still want your voice to be heard, your opinion, because I can guarantee it, 90% of the people on Facebook right now complaining didn't go vote Tuesday. They didn't go vote. They literally did not go vote for their council member. And that's what's crazy to me. Because we can sit here and we can get on Twitter, we can get on TikTok, we can get on Facebook, Instagram, Rumble, and whatever. We can talk our talk. But how do we back it up? How? Because I know where I'm focused at in all of this now. It's to get people to wake up. It's to get people to see that we have a crisis. We have a problem in America. We have a problem, people. And it's time to wake up. It's literally time to wake up. Because this shit's getting old. How are we still dealing with things that we're dealing with from the 60s, right? But it's in different terms. How are we supposed to move forward as a race, as an ethnic group, when we're getting left behind educationally, generationally, wealth-wise, financially? We're not becoming homeowners. We're not becoming business owners. You know what I'm saying? Because we're okay with that Black excellence. We're okay with, look at this person here. Y'all could be just like them. But yet, no, we can't be. Not everybody can be a Walter Hudson. You know what I'm saying? Not every Black woman can be a Lisa DeMuth or a Wale. You know what I'm saying? Who, for me, ain't even Black. He's an African American, if that's what he wants to claim to be. But he's definitely not a Black American. He's not somebody that should be the executive director of the NAACP. How? Because that's the problem. They want motherfuckers up there that's gonna ask their permission. You know what I mean? Ask it. And why are we still asking? I just like I see on Facebook in Rochester, and I'm gonna speak about it. I'm definitely gonna speak about it. I'm gonna speak about the ordinance that the Rochester Police Department did in Rochester, Minnesota, and they passed it on to the city council. And now in Rochester, Minnesota, they're criminalizing being homeless, criminalizing it. And this is where I say, where are the leaders? Where are the leaders? Where are the leaders? Because you can go to a city council meeting, that's all fine and dandy. But what are the next action steps going forward? Because you still have a mayor that can veto it, since Mayor Frey out of Minneapolis likes to, since he put it out there, last night on Fox 9, that his veto pen is ready because he has to deal with a progressive council now, at least majority progressive. He doesn't have he's got more DSA Socialists of America than he's got DFLers now. And it'll be interesting to watch. I'm kind of saddened that, Marvina Haynes, who did exceptionally well. I really got to give my hats off to Marvina's campaign, because while she was running for a city election, she's still dealing with, court cases for her brother, Free Marvin Haynes, and still ran a great, I feel like, campaign, and you look at the numbers that voting wise, she did very well. I feel like in certain precincts, there was other precincts that were heavily VTOL fray areas, which were primarily white, that had a higher voter turnout. But when you looked at the black neighborhoods, there wasn't really a high turnout. And why is that? And that's one thing I want to know. Why? I see all these groups out here, talking about their boots on the ground. Why aren't you getting people to get out and vote? And I don't even care if they're voting the way y'all want them to vote. But why aren't they getting out and voting? Why? That's what I would like to know. Why don't people get out and vote? Because we like to complain, but yet we don't ever want to do nothing about it. So that's my question, is why? You know what I'm saying? Because they're taking everything from our kids, and we're okay with that. Because it does have a psychological effect. Our feeling, of what they're teaching our kids, the code switch. They're not teaching our kids in public education about the black struggle, the black fight, and what it looked like. Shit, they don't even want to talk about the women's struggle. They don't want to talk about the women's suffrage movement and the Women's Voting Right Act of 1920. They don't want to talk about certain things because at the end of the day, women didn't even have voting rights. Women didn't even have basic, and still to this day, women are fighting for same pay. It's like we all have a fight, and I understand it. You know what I mean? I'm not gonna sit there and disclaim anybody else's fight. But damn, when can black people be seen? When can we be taken serious as, when can we get some unity? That's one thing that I want to know is when can we get some unity? Because that's one thing I don't see. I don't see any accountability. And that's why we don't see no unity, is because we don't see no accountability. And again, this is Coffee and Conversations. So I hope everybody's got their coffee, whatever you drink. But yeah, I literally wanted to get into the house Negro and the field Negro because we do see a lot of that in today's times. And it's something that's not talked about. It's not something that is that they like to speak about. You know what I'm saying? So I want to just show y'all something real quick if I can. Just stay here. I'm not going anywhere. But I want to show y'all something. Let's see. Hello. So, let me get on and present, because I do want to promote a few things while I'm doing this as well. So tomorrow in Rochester from 6:30 p.m. to 8 p.m., Rochester can change the prison system. It is at Christ United Methodist Church. This event is hosted by Twin Cities Incarcerated Workers Organizing Committee. Come share experiences about why the prison system needs to change and learn about existing policy and legislative campaigns to get our people home for good. We can create a movement to change the prison system. So if you do, I'll put that link in the chat. So I'll put this in there for y'all. please do check it out. That is something that if you are in the Rochester area, definitely something you should be paying attention to. Let's see, because the topic of today is House Negro, Field Negro. So I want to show y'all something. Not this one. Not that one either. So right here, you see this photo. This is what I'm meaning about the House Negro, right? Who do you see right here? Now, if people don't remember what went down at Camo J, that's why they're tagged Camo J. For the simple fact of they hosted a debate between Fourth Ward candidates, and it was such a shit show. And it was a shit show because you had Camo J, who supports VTAW, and this fuckboy L Flowers, like Brian Warfield calls him, aka Willie Lump Lump. But it's crazy how he wants to hide, you know what I'm saying, and believe them when they reveal their true selves, both in actions and words. And yes, that's Cheddar Bob, aka fake ass L Flowers Sr. Yeah, right there, because he couldn't even come out and be in the photo, but yet you wanted to literally hide. Like, that shit's crazy to me. It's crazy. So here is about Rochester. So friends and advocates for justice, we need your support to fight against this unjust ordinance that's affecting our community. We're urging everyone to take action. Please reach out to Kim Norton, who is the mayor of Rochester, Minnesota, and ask her to veto this ordinance. Let your voices be heard. You can contact Mayor Norton via email at knorton@rochester.gov. Send a passionate message explaining your concerns and the impact this ordinance has on our fellow citizens. You can also call our office at 507-328-2700 and express your thoughts on why this ordinance needs to be reconsidered. Together, we can make a difference. Let's stand up for a fair and equitable community. Veto the ordinance. And I did do a template that people can use. Dear Mayor Norton, I hope this message finds you well. I am writing to express my deep concern about the recently introduced ordinance that pertains to camping on city property or right away within our community. It has come to my attention that this ordinance imposes severe restrictions and penalties on our fellow citizens who are facing economic hardships. This ordinance defines camping as a setting up a temporary living space and designates a campsite as the location for such activities. However, it imposes strict regulations requiring individuals to obtain permission to camp on city property or right of way. Such limitations appear to be an unwarranted control over where people can find shelter. B, what is particularly distressing is that this ordinance outright criminalizes camping without prior approval. It raises concerns about the ethical and moral implications on criminalizing someone's fundamental need for shelter. C, this ordinance grants authorities the right to remove or clean up personal belongings that do not meet specified standards. This provision could lead to the disheartening outcome of individuals losing their temporary sheltering, exacerbating their already challenging circumstances. D, in addition to these concerns, the ordinance deems violations as misdemeanors, carrying the potential for imprisonment up to 90 days or a fine up to $1,000. These punitive measures can have a devastating impact on those in our community who are already struggling. The ordinance also prioritizes enforcement in specific areas, further restricting the options available to individuals in need. I strongly believe that the well-being and dignity of all of our citizens should be paramount. we should be working towards solutions that address the root causes of homelessness and economic hardships. I respectfully urge you to reconsider and veto this ordinance. Instead, let us work together to develop policies and initiatives that promote social justice, economic equality, and fair treatment for all members of our community. Thank you for your attention on this matter, and I hope that you will make a decision that reflects our shared commitment to a more just and equitable Rochester. So I let it be, you know, because I do care. I care about everybody. And I love everybody. There's no hate in my body, not 1 ounce of hate. And I just want everybody to be treated the same, everybody to have the same opportunities for freedom, everybody to have the same opportunities for wealth, and to live great. So with that being said, I'm gonna get out of here today. You have been tuned into Coffee and Conversations with the Urban Conservative. My name is Chaz Neal, aka the Urban Conservative, and this is being brought to you today by the Leon Black Independent Media. So win or fail, freedom or jail, heaven or hell. Wish me well. Y'all have a great one.
Every day, fighting for my life. Every day, fighting for my life. Fighting for my life. Fighting for my bread. Grew from the seed you thought was rot. I think not. Fire bred desire to rise above denial. To rise from former ashes to face new trial.